All right, so I'm going to create control for my clavicle. Previously, we already had one. I actually deleted mine out because I want to make a new shape for it. Because we got a lot of circles here going on, and I just want visually to not have my project so cluttered. So let's do that. I'm going to go to my curves, and I'm going to create a circle. I know it's a little counterintuitive to what I was just saying. But I'm going to snap it up here, the top view in my grid, just to back a bit, because I want to duplicate it as well, and move it over. Move it over. There we go. And it's kind of up to you, like how far you want to space these out. You could always recreate this if you find this is too short or too long. You can always recreate this or edit it in the control vertices, right? But essentially what I want to do is kind of create like a dumbbell type shape where we're connecting two circles together with a line. So I'm going to go up here to my curves tool and then this EP curve tool. If I hold X, I can snap to specific points on the grid, which is what I want. So I'm going to snap here at this edge of this circle and snap over here at this edge of this circle and hit enter to finalize that. Cool. So now we want to do what we've done before and make all of these one object. Like when I select one, I want it all to be selected. I want this to be the same NURBS circle. Before I do that over here in the outliner, let's select all of these. I'm going to go up here to Poly Modeling Shelf. We got our three great buttons, our Freeze Transforms, Delete the History, and then also I want to go ahead and click Center Pivot for this as well. That's pretty important for this part to work functionally. I've already shown shapes over here in my project, but if you don't recall, go over here to Display and Show Shapes. And what this is it's our shape layers. So we can see the main object, but then we see the shape within. And if you recall, that's kind of how we did our forearm controls. And that's how we're going to control these as well. So I'm going to select NURBS Circle Shape. And then finally, instead of going to that shape for that line, I'm just going to select the line itself that contains the shape. And then we're going to do that great function, parent -R-S, hit enter. And now when I go to select this, it selects the entire range of it, which is fantastic for us, right? So instead of just selecting one circle, it selects the circle and the line and the other circle. This is a great method to kind of create custom controls. I mean, you know those curve tools. You can kind of create any shape that you want and then create your control for it. That's great. So this is a great method for doing that. All right, so let's get this snapped to the clavicle. And I'm going to hide my geometry so I can snap it there. And then get it rotated. So 90 degrees here, and then, whoops, then also 90 degrees and rotate X. There we go. Way too large, so I'm going to scale it down. And see, this is where I was talking about, like, maybe way too long, maybe way too short. So I'm going to hit Control 1 and do that great thing that we've done before with the Control Vertex. So Control 1 to isolate, then Control 1 to unisolate. So I'm going to scoot this back. So I can select it from the back side if I'm looking at the back side of my character, or I can select it from the front side if I'm looking for the front side of my character. Dope. What are we going to do with this? We are going to freeze those transforms. We're going to delete that history. And our pivots, we don't really want to center it at this point because you see it takes it away from that joint. So we're going to leave it there, but we do want to freeze transforms, whoops, and delete the history. Cool. So now we have this curve tool. I'll go ahead and rename it L_clavicle_control. I think I misspelled clavicle here. I did. Whoopsie. Listen, it's all right. We all make mistakes. But what we want to do is parent this up. But before I do, same thing we've done before. Let me turn display shapes off. So I can group this to itself and call that group _GOP. There we go. So I want to make sure to select the clavicle and then the actual clavicle joint. We're going to go up here to our rigging tool kit, constrain, parent option box, just to make sure to look at those settings, make sure they're all functional. I do want translate and rotate and say add. So now when I go to select this, we are shifting that up and down. Now notice the controls for the FK don't move with it, and that is a no-no. That is not what we want. We do want those to go with it. So what do we got to do? We got to go to this shoulder group for the FK and make sure it's parented under the clavicle. So now when I go to move that clavicle, everything moves with it. And that's the clavicle control done. That's really all it is. And just looking at it, you know, maybe I either went too far back or not enough forward here. Maybe scale that down a little bit as well. And then I definitely, if I scale it down, I definitely want to pull it back out. Because if I bring my geometry back on, yeah. Whoops. Let's go back here. Isolate it. There we go. So select these. So it's not as large of a control. We really don't need it to be super large. And you really don't have to create this same type of control that I have here. I can see it's kind of overlapping here with my shoulder control. So I could, if I wanted to, go here and kind of scale that back in. There we go. I think it's looking nice. Need to do the same thing for the other side. My rig currently, none of my stuff is carried over to the other side, so I've got a little bit of catching up to do. But that's all right, because I know all the steps. Cool. So again, that's the clavicle step done. Just kind of rotating it here, just to make sure everything's rotating nicely, and it is. And before I parent constrained anything, or before I grouped anything, I froze those transforms. So if you didn't do that, you're going to have a bad time. But this is going to allow us to raise our clavicle up and down, as well as just a little bit of rotation in addition to our shoulder. Because you cannot just raise your, you can't raise, someone can't, like literally if you try to do this on your person without raising your clavicle, you can't. You literally cannot do it. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's it for the clavicle. We'll continue connecting this rig up.